Hi. I'm wearing my frog outfit, and I felt like this was frog hair. So I gave myself frog hair and frog clothes, because today we are reading about growing frogs, and we're going to do our little art project with our frog. So here we go, guys. Growing Frogs by Vivian French and illustrated by Allison Bartlett. Okay. Now, hopefully you remember, and you watched the other video, we know the life cycle of a frog. The egg, tadpole, turning into the frog. They have gills and they have lungs, remember? So here we go, growing frogs. Once, when I was little, my mom read me a story about a frog that grew bigger and bigger and bigger. Afterward, Mom asked me if I'd like to watch some real frogs growing. I don't know where there's a pond with lots of frog eggs in it, she said. We could bring some home. I was frightened. I don't want any frogs jumping around getting bigger and bigger and bigger, I said. But Mom gave me a hug. That was only a story, she said. Even when our frogs are grown up, they'll still be smaller than my hand. Oh, okay, I said. The next day, we went to look at the pond. The water was dark brown and there was gray jelly stuff floating on top. Ooh, yuck, I said. There's the frog spawn, said Mom, and she pointed to the gray jelly stuff. I bet that was laid last Friday night. The frogs were croaking so loudly I couldn't even get any sleep. Male frogs croak to attract the female frogs for mating. Mating occurs, well, hold on, Yep. So stuff happens and then the tadpoles are gonna grow. Yep. There we go. There's that. If you see the black dot in the middle of each jelly shell, Mom said that's gonna grow into a tadpole. Where are the frogs? I asked. Tadpoles grow into frogs, she said. Little ones. No giant frogs here. Mom put some pondweed and some stones in a bag, and she filled the bucket with pond water, and then I scooped a little of the frog spawn into it. Always use pond water for growing frogs at home. The tap water has chemicals like fluoride in it, and it might poison the frogs. So if you're going to try to bring some little tadpole eggs home, you're going to need to make sure you have the water that they came from. When we got home, we put everything into a big fish tank in the kitchen. The cat kept peering at it, so we had to put the wire net on top of it. That cat was trying to get it. I counted 27 little black dots. Each dot was inside its own jelly shell. The tank needs to be kept somewhere that's cool and away from direct sunlight. You don't want the water to get too warm. Every day when I woke up, I went straight downstairs to look at the frog spawn. The little green dots turned into bigger dots and then into tiny curls. And one morning, I saw the first tadpole wiggle out of its tiny jelly shell. In a tank, eggs hatch into tadpoles about 10 days after they are laid. At first, the tadpoles didn't do much. They just stayed close to their jelly shells and nibbled at the pondweed. I think the pondweed is that algae that we talked about in the other book. But after 2 or 3 days, they looked quite different. There were feathery things on their heads, and I could see their eyes. The feathery things are called gills, and they use that to breathe underwater, and they swim very, very fast. 10 of the eggs didn't ever hatch. The black dots went dull and cloudy, and Mom took them away. But then we cleaned out the tank and put the fresh pondweed and the pond water. Put in fresh pond water and fresh pondweed. And one of the tadpoles swam into my hand when I was putting a stone back. It was slippery and slithery, and it made me jump. After the tadpoles hatch, the pond water needs to be changed at least twice a week. And there's a lot to growing frogs, huh? After a while, I got used to having tadpoles and I didn't look at them so often. When Mom told me that their little feathery things had disappeared, I didn't believe her, but it was true. The tadpoles have gills on the outside of their body at first, and then they grow gills inside their bodies, and the ones on the outside, they disappear. I was the one who saw the next change, though. Look! I shouted, and Mom rushed to see some of the tadpoles had grown 2 little bumps. Mom said those bumps are going to grow into back legs. They grew very quickly. One day, there were 2 little bumps. The next day, the bumps were stumps. The day after that, they almost looked like real legs. And then the feet unfolded and they were webbed like tiny brownish green fans. They aren't tadpoles anymore, I said, and they're not quite frogs yet either. The not quite frogs grew front legs next, and then their tails got shorter, and then their mouths got wider. Now they're frogs, Mom said. Baby ones. Oh, they're so excited. Soon, the baby frogs were popping up and gulping at the surface of the water. One of them tried to climb onto the stones, but slid off. Mom said they were getting ready to leave the water. Grown-up frogs breathe air, she said. That's what the stones are for, so the frogs can climb out of the water and breathe. As tadpoles slowly turn into frogs, they grow lungs for breathing air, and their gills will disappear. Not long after that, Mom said it was time to take our baby frogs back to live in the pond with all the other baby frogs. I was sorry to leave them, but Mom said we could come back and visit every day. Baby frogs need space to grow and room to hop around. Grown-up frogs live most of their lives on land, returning to the ponds only to breed. And that means have more eggs that turn into tadpoles that turn into frogs. One rainy morning, a week later, Mom woke me up very early. Hurry, she said, and we ran downstairs and out to the pond. There were hundreds of tiny frogs hopping all over the grass. Oh, they're looking for dark, wet places to live, Mom said. But they won't go far, and in a couple of years, they'll be back to lay frog spawn of their own. When will they be bigger then? I asked. Just a little, said Mom. Good, I said. I like having frogs jumping around, getting bigger, bigger, and bigger. The end. We got a little frog. So I don't know if you've ever had tadpoles at your house and tried to watch them go through this process, but it is amazing. That is a lot going on for a little frog. God is so good. That is so neat how that works, isn't it? So I think we should get out our rocks and some green paint and some glue and the Google eyes and maybe a Sharpie, maybe a black Sharpie. Let's see if we can draw some legs on it and maybe little nostrils. So let's meet together in just a second and start our project. Hi guys, are you ready to make a new craft? Okay, you're gonna need your white rock from your baggie. You are going to need your baggie with your Google eyes. You see those? Some green paint or maybe a green Sharpie or anything you can color your rock green with. So I have a little container for my paint, a paintbrush, and then I have something to paint my rock on so I don't make a mess. All right, so let's get started. I am going to decide what side of my rock would be best for my frog. So if I go like this, the top is kind of a little bit wonky. If I flip it over, it's a little wobbly, but then I have a flatter space to put my big Google eyes. So I think I'm gonna paint it like that. So think about how you want your rock to look. I'm gonna squeeze some paint. This is an interesting color of green, I must add. So here I go. Here's my little green paint. And look how crazy my brush is. It's like crazy big. So I'm painting my rock. And stand up for a second so I can see. This is a really weird green. It's almost like teal. I have a funky little... So you can paint the bottom if you want and let it dry and then paint the top. I'm just going to kind of paint the top so we can move on with our project. Let this side dry. Maybe flip it over, do the bottom, because I actually do want it to kind of be sealed. So this is phase 1. Paint your rock green. Just like so. Hi. So my rock dried, and I went ahead and put 2 Google eyes on it. And remember, I had it so that it was laying, it's like a little bit wonky, but I wanted it to lay so that my eyes had a flatter surface. So what I'm gonna do is, this is his tail, like this is the end of him, and then this is his face. I'm gonna take my Sharpie, and I'm gonna make the little 2 dots. Can you guys see? I'm gonna try to move this so that the light's on it. The little holes here. And there's his little face. It's usually like just like little crease for his mouth. See that? And then on the side, I'm going to make, let's look at this side. Might be a little bit easier to see. Make it look like he's got frog legs. So it's going to kind of hump around like this. And then go back like that. And then around this side. Dum. Kind of looks like the legs are. All right, so there is my little frog. Let me see if I can get a better angle of him. And then I think I'm going to add little, make him a toad. Little bumps on his back. Boop, 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 boop. If you have a red marker, you can maybe make a little tongue come out. I don't have a red marker with me. But here is my little toad. And I love him. It's from the side. His little legs, his little face. And I'm going to put him in my garden. It's going to be my little toad, little frog. I'm going to stick him in by my little plants because he's adorable. Now if you use hot glue, that might keep your eyes on better because Elmer's glue, if it gets rained on. But if you have like a little indoor plant, it'd be really cute to sit him in there too. So I hope you have fun with your little frog. My little frog, I love him. Ribbit, ribbit. All right, guys, show me pictures of your little frog when you have it all done. Love you, bye.